Namaskar. My name is Saurabh Nanda and welcome to another episode of Such Conversations Matter. Today's guest is Mr. Vidyadhar Prabhudesai. He was one of my first corporate mentors, told me to write and showed me how to write amazing corporate reports. But that's not the reason why he is here today. He's here because he is one of the first global shapers of the World Economic Forum from India. He's one of the first ambassadors for the SDGs campaign of the United Nations in India. He's a Ford Foundation Fellow where he works with universities for public policy. He is a DreamonX promoter. He is somebody who pledged to give 50% of his wealth to charity so that there is more equitable and equal distribution of wealth in our country. He's also, and let me check here, he has been inducted in the Climate Reality Leadership Corps, an organization started by the former Vice President of the US and Nobel laureate Mr. Al Gore. So, Vidyadhar has worked with governments, he's worked with UN organizations, he's worked with NGOs, big corporations, and he's a market researcher, so he has many clients across the world. People from across the world keep reaching out to him to find solutions. And those will make some excellent questions. So let's invite him over. Hi Vidyadhar, how are you?
Hi Saurabh, I'm doing well, pretty well in fact.
That's great. How is the corona situation in Thane? It is crazy all over the country now, and Mumbai was one of the first places where it spread like wildfire. How is the situation now?
It's out of control any which ways. It is not just in Thane or Mumbai area. All major cities, major districts of the country, everything is out of control. To take an example, current situation, if I look at Thane district itself, the numbers speaks that the district's numbers are itself to more than some of the numbers of the state taken together.
Right.
So that's how bad it is. Nobody is prepared for it. There's nobody is actually know what to exactly handle the situation. It's a learning curve. So as and when things progresses, things improve.
All right. But that's what it is in the rest of the country as well. I mean, Jalandhar is a smaller city. We didn't have a lot of cases, but every day now we have new cases. And I think that's how it's going to spread. It's part of our life now. Well, anyway, but during this pandemic also, there has been a silver lining in your career, and we're going to talk about that as well. But first, let us start with, sir, how did you get involved in this corporate social impact sector combination kind of an area?
Okay. So if I have to give a backdrop of my career, when I graduated back in 2002, I landed up in some of the big corporates, Fortune 500 organizations, and I did apprenticeship and I did because I was a management trainee, and I started growing over there. It actually opened me the world into the corporate culture as such. Then I moved different cities in India, and I've actually had a steady growth as far as corporate is concerned. At some point of time, it was actually, it became a rote kind of a system for me, and I needed a break and wanted to break the monotonous life that I was living. Fortunately, I was not planned as such to leave and get into some social sector or start something. I just randomly, abruptly left. My resignation came while I was boarding a flight back home, and it was just a 6-word SMS to my boss saying that I'm just going. There's no point of return for me. And I didn't have any plan to start, or I had a concrete plan to start. But when I landed back home, I was started deciding what exactly I should do now that I have resigned already. So I figured out a couple of opportunities that were very hot at that time. I thought I would be able to do some stuff, but eventually there was a kind of a recession that hit at that point of time, and my business was purely into recruitment and consulting at that time, where I was started recruiting clients for candidates for my clients, and offers were given out, but there was no joining happening, and that's where my cash flows got got stuck, and eventually I had to close down the first venture in less than 180 days. That short was my venture. Huge loss for me, a huge setback for me. I don't know exactly what to do at that time. Then eventually I thought the best and easiest way to recover is getting into an MBA, get a degree, so that you can show to the world that whatever time you had taken off from the corporate, you have done something critical, done something good, and then eventually get back to the corporate world and probably live the same life what you do. Eventually, further than that, when I did my MBA, I was got into internships. I again got back to large corporations again. Did couple of internships, but somehow the stint of entrepreneurship didn't let me go. So I had to stick with that, and eventually when I had to decide what exactly to do, I chose to work on myself rather than working from somebody else. So that's how I started with LeadCap as such. In fact, LeadCap I started doing an internship earlier. I did a couple of 2.5 months internship, and then joined in as a co-founder along with Sangeet.
So that's very interesting, sir, because for me, LeadCap was such a big, change from what I heard. I mean, I was just a young student, a recent graduate from engineering college, and my friend Neelmani, he just invited me. He said, why don't you come over here and probably we'll be able to do something. And the moment I reached there, it was for the first time I experienced an organization which was democratic. Like I didn't think that there's something can be like that, something democratic can exist in a corporation setting. And then there was these two parts. There was LeadCap Ventures, which was the corporate part where you do business, and then there was the LeadCap.org. And so how did that, like Sangeet is definitely the vision behind it, and you have been the pillar for success for LeadCap. Please tell us, sir, how did that entire transition come in, and where did it go from there?
Incidentally, LeadCap.org happened first, and then LeadCap Ventures. So yes, Sangeet has been the vision as far as LeadCap, both the LeadCaps are concerned, .org and the LeadCap Ventures part of it. What LeadCap.org started with was a vision to build a million leader mandate, and we started with several programs. I think you was some of the part of things you have seen how we operate over there. So first program that we piloted was the Million Leader Mandate program, where we used to run webinars on every weekends, and we invited speakers across the world to conduct the webinars. We partnered with Cisco, a company which then acquired by Cisco, to help us with the technological support that is required. They agreed and they bought in the vision, and we started conducting these first ever online visions webinars kind of thing across the world. So we started doing it, considering India as a background, but we started realizing that these webinars have been viewed across countries. So let it be Middle East, we started getting responses from African countries, we started getting responses from South American countries, US, some of the Southeast Asian countries. So globally, it went out. At some point of time, our infrastructure was so not that equipped that we could not accommodate more people during that time.
Wow. So that is amazing. I mean, so don't you feel vindicated to a certain extent? Oh, so what everyone is doing right now, if you go on LinkedIn and Facebook, everyone is just doing free. You did that 10 years back in an India where 2G was a luxury.
2G was a luxury, and we did manage it to get. The beauty of this, what happened is that we started, in a time wherein people wanted to explore a lot of content online. So online was not just a source of information, but people started browsing for content. The content development happened after 2015-16. But people started looking for content. So probably one of the first providers of content on leadership online, and that too we gave it free of cost. So there was no cost attached to it. So that's how the leadership journey started at LeadCap.
That's amazing.
And we started, measuring what we were doing. One of the groups from Kerala, especially from a district called Wayanad, few groups were very active as such, and they used to report to us, they are doing this, they are doing that. And eventually, we had an idea, something called as Leadership Village, which we then implemented in 2000, towards the end of 2009 in Wayanad. So, which is the world's first leadership village. A concept of leadership village was born over there. We implemented it over there. We managed it, managing in terms of managing that operations for quite some time. We worked together. We ensured that people over there understand what leadership is about, and they are empowered enough to take decisions at their level. We had a lot of surprising results that had come up. So we had student reporters working with Matrubhimu. So Manorama, they were student reporters were there. They worked with Times of India as student reporters. They used to report what is happening in the leadership village to press, and there used to be a lot of cutouts. There used to be a lot of coverage about leadership village. Looking at that model, the Kerala government adopted some part of it as a part of the new education policy of Kerala, and we had a good partner, Anne Frank Research Organization, to help us implement the idea. Quite a lot of work with Anne Frank now. So what we are doing today with Anne Frank is we are actually working at a grassroots offshore system wherein they can help us out with the specific task that helps us, or consulting organization and research organization. So it could be something called an outsourcing work that they help us with. So they help us with research, information collection. They help us with doing telephonic interviews, online interviews with for us and as well as other clients. So it has kind of become a kind of a rural knowledge process outsourcing center now.
Wow. That's amazing, sir. And I was going to ask the same question, and you just gave the answer anyhow. Because I remember I volunteered there for 2 days. The world leadership, the first leadership village in the world, and that was the first time I went to Kerala, and that too to a hill station in Kerala, Wayanad, in the Kalpetta village. It was such an amazing experience. And meeting the founders of Anne Frank Center. I mean, I never knew that something like this is possible, because it was such a different scenario altogether for me. I was so blessed to be there. And just to tell all the people who are watching this video that I experienced more at LeadCap in those 2 months of internship, learning from you, Sangeet, Ramesh sir, than I did from 2.5 years of software engineering jobs in an Indian company and an American company. There was so much happening all the time. And it kept you busy. It kept you enthusiastic. It was amazing. Well, so sir, from there, your, the graph of your career has just shot up. In the sense, not only corporate-wise, obviously, you're such a, a renowned market researcher in your own circle today. But at the same time, organizations from across the world have reached out to you. Especially like the organizations which everybody knows now, when they were starting out, they approached you to start that process in India. World Economic Forum, then the United Nations SDGs, they reached out to Vidyadhar Prabhudesai to start that in India. All these organizations, how would they find you?
So eventually, these organizations actually came through our network. So having grown professionally and having established a network over the last 10, 15 years now since we have started out, these kind of things come through our network. So World Economic Forum, when they nominated me as young global shaper way back when they started off in
You have to show the
Popular.
t-shirt. You have to show the t-shirt.
That's the one. I think I'm
Okay,
wearing
Global
this t-shirt.
Shaper. Great.
So Global Shapers, when they started coming over here, they actually realized and they studied the model of leadership village itself. So based on that, I believe I got entry into the World Economic Forum, and it's amazing. Out there, once you are in, you never know, who are you interacting with. So I had an opportunity to work with Vice President of Zimbabwe or a Deputy Prime Minister of Turkey. I had opportunities to work with the current IMF chief when I was a part of one of the council members. Those things do happen when you get inside it. Yet again, you need to make sure that you are delivering it to what the visions of these organizations are. So, for example, World Economic Forum is actually looking out to better out the world. So their mission is to improve the state of the world, and you need to know that how are you improving the state of the world in your own ways. So I have LeadCap Ventures, I have LeadCap Trust to improve. Then, as a global shaper, I worked on several projects which implemented across other cities as well. So we did a project in Mumbai, which was about helping the street run children. Protect them from the rains in the monsoon. So we partnered with few non-profits locally to help us in distribute the rain gears such as raincoats, umbrellas, shoes, all those things to them. We fundraised some of the money that was required. We partnered with some of the education institutes for this project. Implemented it in Mumbai. The project had a different perspective also. So, for example, in Moscow, the project was implemented to protect poor people from snows, because Moscow has snowfall over there. So people who are below the poverty line cannot afford winter gears over there. So they replicated the project in their way, and they did things on that. So countries like Moscow, Armenia, Kazakhstan, like those things replicated over there.
So they learned from the Mumbai model of protecting poor people from rainfall, and they implemented that for snowfall in their own respective regions.
So model is the same, yes, but the issues are also common. So though we have rainfall over here, there is snowfall over there. And if there is a solution that worked in one part of the day, as a global shapers, we do scale up these solutions as well.
That's amazing. So that is Global Shapers from World Economic Forum. Now tell us about the UN SDGs Forum.
Okay. So WEF as well as UN, both are actually different organizations. Both have different objectives altogether. So World Economic Forum, they started in 1970s, with an objective to improve the state of the world. It is a private organization, private not-for-profit organization, where UN is an intergovernmental organization, wherein the members are the governments of the countries. So it started basically, if you know the history, it started after World War II.
So that is amazing, sir. And it's very interesting to know the history of UN and how it shaped. And today's history of SDGs, it started, I think, in 2000 with the MDGs, which they converted into SDGs after 2012. They just decided to convert it into SDGs. So when the SDGs were to be implemented out of 2015, they reached out to you. So how did that happen?
So in 2013, in fact, there was the Millennium Development Goals were there, and one of the critical voice for the Millennium Development Goals was the voice of the youth. Global Shapers organization, being the leading voice of youth till date, they reached out to a lot of global shapers. They reached out to a lot of young leaders across the world to look at implementing the SDGs in the city. So they were called as city champions, who went ahead and championed the cause of sustainable development goals. So I was inducted in 2015 as an SDG ambassador for my city. So the SDG ambassador included the city mayors and as well as key people in the city.
In the city. That's amazing. Now, there is so much to talk about within these separate areas, but then you are doing so much, so I have to move on to the next one. Tell us about the Ford Foundation. You're a Ford Foundation fellow.
Yes, I am a Ford Foundation fellow. So Ford Foundation fellow is fellowships are two types. So you have an international fellowship, and then you have the India-centric fellowship. I represent a more India-centric, not the international. The international fellowship is a much bigger and much more competitive over there, which gives you access to a lot of top 6 to 8 public universities across the globe. In India, it is more towards Indian-centric universities where you work across the universities. So I worked with Jamia Millia Islamia University. I worked with IIT Delhi and helped them specifically in terms of their specific issue. So with Jamia Millia, I was working on the media and governance aspect in terms of implementing media governance and policy measures as a Ford Foundation fellow. Then with IIT Delhi, I was working on the broadband policy and the telecom policy changes which is there. So which actually helped further to crystallize the BharatNet program.
That's amazing.
That's how it's a Ford Foundation. So Ford Foundation funds a lot of researches, the public researches, public health programs, all those things as far as development is concerned.
Next is DreamonX. What is DreamonX?
Okay. So DreamonX. DreamonX is actually a project, a vision of my friend Avinash Jangiani. He is a marketing person. He's worked in the US before, and he's come back to India. He runs a marketing organization, Azimut, but he also runs a non-profit which is called Play to Transform, who has initiated this project DreamonX. Dreamon is basically a book project, a collection of ideas and vision of children of India, aged probably 8 to 14, 15 years old. It's a vision of children, what they think about the future of India. These letters, these poems, these drawings are addressed to the President of India, and we have compiled we've collected some 16,000 dreams across India. We partnered with several educational institutes, schools, to help us collect these dreams. Of these dreams, we shortlisted close to about 400, 500 dreams and compiled it into a book. These again, and then when we compiled it, we thought, let us analyze on a SDG wise how we can present it over there. So we analyzed the dream people wise, we did analyze the dream planet wise, and third analyze the dreams prosperity wise. So 3 P's wise we've analyzed and compiled it into a book form, which is addressed to the President of India. So those dreams are there. So nice. This is what the Dreamon project is there. Since the project was done in India, we thought, why not just restrict to India itself? Let us go abroad. Let us talk to specific countries that we are known of and see whether there is an opportunity to replicate in some other countries. So I'm looking out for ambassadors and implementers across Africa and Middle East, so who are helping us to implement the same project for their country. So for a country like Nigeria would have dreams collected of children, and they will compile it and present it to the Prime Minister or President of their countries.
So I'm going to connect you with a couple of my friends in West Africa and probably someone in Kenya as well.
Sure, definitely. We are open across, so
Awesome.
all the world.
Amazing, sir.
So they implement it, and what we do as we have experience in working on this probably about more than a year and a half now. What we are doing is that we have developed a kit, which is a ready kit, a toolkit for the implementers. They can find it handy. So whatever help they require in terms of how do you design your book, how do you evaluate the children's dream, how do you classify dreams, and how do you look at fundraising for your project. So those tools are created, and we are helping them as an organization to these ambassadors.
Wow. Okay, moving on to the next one because people might have thought, oh no, this is enough. No. So recently you pledged to give 50% of your wealth away. What is that organization? Tell us more about it, and tell us all the famous and important people who are part of that movement.
Okay. So if you know about the Giving Pledge, which is founded by Bill Gates and Warren Buffett. So they reach out to the billionaires of the world and asking them to pledge 50% of the wealth. So a lot of billionaires across have the world have pledged 50% of the wealth. From India to Giving Pledge, you have Nandan and Lohili Nilankani. You have I think the Shobha developers family also have pledged out. So there are very few from India. I think Roshni and Shiv Nadar. I think the Nadar family has also pledged to the Give. You can find out the pledges on Give India, the Giving Pledge site. So there are very few from India. Living by Promise actually is a similar idea of what do you say, giving itself. So we thought let us not restrict to the wealthy people itself, but if you have a decent amount of wealth accumulated, which we think it is 1 crore at this present day. If you have that much of net worth accumulated with you, you could be anybody. But if you have that, basically, you are welcome to come and pledge for that. And when you pledge, you sign up specifically to giving at least 50% to philanthropy causes. We are not binding as such in terms of what causes you want to support, but it is up to the signatory to choose causes that is there. So we have people from across choices. Then we have Rahul Bose, who's a known actor, who's signatory for Living by Promise. So we have.
Sir, why is this important? Why is it important for people who have substantial amount of wealth to pledge half their wealth to social causes? Why is it important?
Okay, so in my opinion, if we look at the trajectory of wealth and distribution part of it, it's quite uneven. You have wealth top wealthy people of any country are probably top 5 to 10% people hold the entire nation wealth altogether, and that creates a lot of income disparities. Which is probably one of the reasons why there are social issues exist till date. We are not able to solve them. And one of the ways to solve it is to initiate a cause which can improve the equality just by pledging your wealth or giving up for what you hold out for causes. It eventually distributes the income and brings the wealth to an equilibrium state. This is not the foolproof solution, but yes, it is one step ahead in terms of moving towards that equilibrium. And that's why I think people should come forward, at least those who are ultra high net worth individuals from India and from across the world should come together and pledge over there. And I believe the younger you join, the more you can give up.
Wow. So, sir, where does the money go then? I mean, is it going into Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, where obviously Bill Gates and Warren Buffett invest all their charitable money basically into that?
No, it is actually the individual's decision. So there is no single authority or organization that we are supposed to donate to. For example, I can donate to any organization or any non-profit or any chief minister relief fund or prime minister relief fund. Anything I can do. But I should do at least 50% of whatever it is. Either during my lifetime or whenever you are gone, you create a will and then distribute at the end. Either way is accepted. So people have created wills so that whenever they are gone, their property, their the bank balances, their assets, they can get used for philanthropic causes.
All right, that's amazing. That's such an amazing movement, and I think more and more people need to join. And I'm definitely for it because India is such an unequal country. I think we lag behind only Russia when it comes to inequality of wealth distribution in the world.
Yes.
So well,
that's unfortunate, but it is there. So that is why organizations like Living Bank Foundation, Promise Foundation are required.
Perfect. But that's not it. That's not finished. So coming to your most recent, I don't know what to call it, feather in your cap. So you have been included, I think, last week. You tell us, sir.
Yes.
I'm not going to talk about it. You tell us what happened last week.
So last week, what happened is there's something called as Climate Reality Corps. Again, it is an initiative of former US Vice President Al Gore, who's actually also a Nobel writer. So he has started an organization which is called as Climate Reality Corps, which is again an organization which objective is to promote climate awareness across the globe. And these Climate Reality Corps are objective is to make sure that the policies of their governments, the policies of the cities where they live in are climate friendly in nature. So that's how the Climate Reality Corps are about. I just got inducted, so it's still time for me to get accustomed to in terms of what exactly it is. So I get to go through the trainings. Probably this will get over by the end of the month, and probably I'll be a full-fledged member next month onwards.
Awesome. There are so many questions I need to ask you now. So you've been part of so many global movements, organizations, forums. Does that help you as an individual, as a professional? How much does it help you? Has it changed Vidyadhar from, let's say, 2008, when he was only part of LeadCap, and to Vidyadhar of 2020, when he's part of so many other forums?
Okay, so so there are 2-3 things over here. So there is a personal growth as well in terms of being a part of international organization. There's a lot to look at from what others do. So there's a lot to look at from how something which is happening in let's say in Tanzania. And something what is happening, let's say, in Patna, how they are related to each other. And can there be solutions? Can there be opportunities where they could help each other as well and arrive at a resolution? So one is in terms of learning from each other. Second, the opportunities when we look at learning from each other, there's also opportunities to bridge the gaps. So one of the initiatives that has happened while I was a global shaper as a member of a global shapers community, that we promoted peace across South Asian countries, so including India, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bhutan, and Pakistan. So we had a specific people working together to promote peace, to promote equality, to promote brotherhood among these states. So those bridging these gaps also happens through these networks, and that is a lot learning which is required. And third, lastly, you are able to project yourself. That is the last thing that I look for. So whatever I have gained as my experience, I also should be able to deliver it to someone else. So whether my experience as a consultant helpful, whether my experience as an impact assessment can be helpful to somebody or not. That is how the information of exchange happens, the knowledge exchange happens at these forums or organizations.
That's very interesting. So, how do you measure the impact? So, obviously, you are doing so many things, and you're collaborating with people. There is information sharing. There is best practices sharing. But how do you measure the impact? Like, if I have to say that if you were not part of Global Shapers, and compare it with the fact that you are part of Global Shapers, how will I measure or quantify the impact between the two different paths that you might have taken?
See, your impact is not correlated to which organization you belong to or whether you have access to certain things or not. So, impact is an impact. So, if you have done a quality work at a grassroots level, for example, it could be as simple as providing a low-cost ampute arms to people. So, for example, there's an engineer from I think IIT Madras, I think, who has developed low-cost ampute arms to people, which typically ampute arms or legs cost probably 50,000-60,000, and people cannot afford that. So his arm costs 1/10 of that. He is not a part of any of the global organization, though he is a part of a prestigious institution. These solutions are really cost effective. Yes, it has an impact in the local community. So he has a beneficiaries probably whose income is probably less than 1 lakh an annum, and he is an ampute or a disabled, physically disabled person, and he requires help. So he cannot afford to buy 56,000 ampute arms or legs. But so a solution which comes to 1/10, of course, he is certainly able to do that, and his life of improves out. So his accessibility improves, his employment opportunities improve. He's be able to grow which things. So that is one way to look at the measuring the impact at the beneficiary level. Okay, which doesn't impact in terms of how it is, but the quality of the life improvement or improvement in the livelihood of people is actually the base metric that we can look at. Secondly, if you want to look at it purely from a quantitative or for a number perspective, then probably some of these organizations, international organizations, who are funding a bigger project, so whether it be a Ford Foundation or whether it is a United Nations development program, or whether it is for example, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, who's funding vaccines across the world. Their impact is quantifiable and scalable because they look at large set of investment, large set of teams to conduct those impacts. So and there they would it's easy for them to scale.
Okay.
So
and
these are both ways that we could measure it from a global perspective. Yes, some of the numbers are critical, and we report those numbers at the end of the program. Whether it is I've been doing impact assessments for UN, so including organizations such as reports as global gender gap. So I looked at Afghanistan as a country and looked at how exactly the access to education, the access to technology, access to healthcare, women is different than men in that country. So that at a global level, if you need to understand, yes, numbers are important, and organizations, having an organization backing you is actually definitely helps.
Right. So, sir, you touched upon the next, the point that I'm going to talk about in the next question. All right. Which was, so when you collect all this data, I'm sure with so much expertise, like the organization like WEF, which started in the 70s, and you go to their website, they have these huge graph, circular graph with web-like things, and it's an amazing piece of data analysis. They have developed these models. Do all these organizations have good quality data collection models and analysis models? Does the UN take models, take data from them? How do we achieve the SDGs? That is what my question is. So, like, the countries also provide data, and these organizations also provide data. I'm sure there are some conflicts sometimes.
See, there are no conflicts as such. Okay, conflicts happen when there's an issue with a common interest. If you do not have a common interest, conflicts do arise. But anybody who's assessing any impact looks at the beneficiaries where it is. So, for example, if I given an example of, let's say, Afghanistan, when I was looking at it, I was working with the ministries, the government organizations who helped us give us the data. As far as Afghanistan is concerned, then there is a historic data available with the World Bank or with the UN, which we correlate to in terms of, and then reassess the metric part of it in terms of how it has changed, how it has impacted, and then we evaluate the models. So you have a basic, economic evaluation done in the same fashion. A World Bank does the same way, a UN does the same way, or the web does in the same way. Okay, there's no difference in terms of the approach are concerned. It is just that how you look at the data and what you want to project based on the objective is what differs the data. A data is a data. It is a researcher's way out to look at way to look out. In a simple mechanism, if I keep a water in a glass half filled, I may say it is half full. You may say it is half empty. It's basically the same thing that we're talking about, right? It's not two different things.
Great. In fact, thank you so much, sir, for teaching me about quantitative and qualitative analysis way back in 2009. You and Nibras were instrumental in making me understand what qualitative is and quantitative is. And this is where the next question is coming from. You do that for a living. You do qualitative and quantitative analysis for a living. You're a market researcher. But you're also part of these, I think I counted six different campaigns and movements and organizations. They must be taking some time out of your busy schedule. How do you manage your day job and working for these people?
Okay. So the easiest way to answer is that you make sure that these organizations become a part of your day job.
Perfect. Explain now.
Okay. They are not too different than you work. So work that I do for the UN or the work that I do for the web or the work that I do as an organization in LeadCap Ventures or for the LeadCap Trust almost goes back into the same basket. I don't have to look into a different basket and switch over my time in multiple areas as such. I still work on the same basket itself, though yes, these have their own dependencies and commitments involved over here. So that is okay. That's a part of your life. So as you grow up your career, what you need to learn is to multitask. At a point of time, I was concentrating on only one or two things at a time, so which is LeadCap Trust and LeadCap Ventures. That grown to a model where it can self-sustain. It is not completely self-sustainable. It requires our time as well. But yes, it has given us some liberty saying that we can explore different other things as well. So we work with UN, we work with Ford, we work with World Economic Forum. I work with now Climate Reality will some start coming in once I'm out. So that's how you divide your time. So
okay. So, well, I wanted to ask another question, but I'm going to ask this first. I'm a career consultant, and students and parents, they keep asking me, about different career paths. What if somebody wants to go on a career path which you have taken? So, what would you suggest to them?
Okay, so I've changed my career path, one or two times. So I was a corporate person, and I was happy living over there. Something stuck me, and I changed my path to this. Probably at that point of time when I had started out, there was nobody there to guide me or something like that. I've learned it on my own, and if anybody wants to follow the career path whether for my career path or any other career path, the person needs to be dedicated to that. And if you think that of that you have an alternative to the career path, then that's not your career path. So ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि there is a career A and career B that you're going to. It has to be career A, it has to be only career A. If you think of a career B, then it's not your career.
All right.
If, for example, if Virat Kohli would have thought that I would try with swimming instead of cricket, where would you be?
Right.
As an alternate career.
So
there is no alternatives as such. You need to follow. Come may whatever. So what it matters at that point of time is perseverance. Whether you would see failures, you would see some success, you will see downfall, things will go completely off track. It has happened in the last 3 months itself. In fact, to be honest, we are actually we have lost a lot of businesses in the last 3 months. So the existing clients are not coming back. New clients, whoever have commissioned, have not started. So uncertainty. So it happens at any point of time, and we need to be perseverant at any point of time. There shouldn't be any second thought coming into your mind that, okay, I need to look at some other alternative. If that would have been there, I wouldn't have grown.
Right. Amazing, sir. Amazing piece of advice. So there was one question, and it was actually related to, how do you manage your day job and these organizations. So as a market researcher, you're asked to do a lot of research for a lot of companies, right? I remember from 2009, you gave me the case study of Cafe Coffee Day, how you guys had them way back in 2009. Now, when you do this research for a particular company, there will always be times when you discover something really magical, right? Like, oh, you never knew this, but after research, you found it. So has it happened to you that you were doing some research for some big company and you found some data or some, insights which were socially relevant? But it might have been unethical for you to share that insight outside because you're bound by a contract with the company. Have you ever been in such a situation, and what did you do then with that socially important insight? Because you're part of so many social impact organizations.
I'm not sure whether it is because of our work that has happened, but yes, some of the things that has happened is that people use some of our data that we give it to them as a consultant or as a research agency. That data also sometimes have a social impact. It could be positive, it could be negative. So when I say negative, it could have cost some of the jobs of the people, and it has happened practically to us. So using some of the insights, people lost jobs.
Okay.
So that certain things do happen, and when we as an organization we come to know about it, we probably something next of this time comes up. We think that okay, this is not something socially viable for us. As a people, as an organization, it is not ethically for us to take up. So we take a cautious decision whenever sometimes something comes out and we see an angle saying that this could be a possible impact of our work, then probably we try to deny that work to an extent with possible. So that sometimes it's a conflicting decision that we have to go through, but we have to take tough decisions at some point of time in life. So it happens.
You as a corporate leader, you are doing that consciously, taking those calls before, during, and after the process. Do you think
Correct.
more and more corporations are doing that? Are they taking more conscious decisions of, when they're making business decisions? Are they doing it with a conscious perspective towards the society, the nature, the people, and all those things?
See, I cannot be confident about other organizations. Yes, some organizations are mature enough to take that call, but that requires a long vision to understand, and that vision comes with an experience of business. So that farsightedness is unfortunately not not there in most of the companies that are here in India. So sometimes they have to gives a priority for profit making versus looking for a social impact kind of thing. I do not say that profit making is bad, because I also a profit entity at the end of the time. I need to at the end of the survive. I need to make sure that I make profit. So profit making is definitely important, and it has to be there. It cannot go out of your mind. Otherwise, you as an organization, you wouldn't survive longer. But yes, there are organizations. It's not that people don't think about taking any specific decisions as that. Sometimes decisions go wrong, and there are organizations who take care of that. And if they go wrong, they come back and announce that we have made wrong decision.
So, sir,
there are very few organizations.
Yeah, exactly, and that is why this question becomes so important. This COVID-19 situation has exposed like all the mistakes that human beings have done in this civilization, right? All of them.
Correct.
Like all the mistakes are coming out. For a new entrepreneur, for somebody who wants to set up his business, an MSME or even a grocery shop, how can that person make sure that his decisions are more conscious, are for the benefit of all of us and not only himself? How can that person at a grassroots level, small business owner do that? Because you understand everything, they might not.
Correct.
How can they do it?
Yeah, correct. So for that, things to happen, it's actually some organizations have started working on it in terms of how they can scale up the grassroots organizations, next door kirana store, your mom and pop store, a bakery store, or somebody who sells tobacco, pan, or cigarettes, guy selling over there. How we can actually empower this person to understand what it is and how the business dynamics have changed. So there are organizations who are working on it in terms of helping them to be more technical savvy. In terms of giving them access to technology, understanding, making you understand that there are opportunities available, even though you are not able to have customers visiting you, but you will be available to your customers through a mobile phone. So that learning has been started post some realization of relaxation of lockdown measures. So that has been initiated. Second thing, they need to get educated also. So you need to make them aware. You need to make them learn technology. You need to make them aware of a lot of financial things that are involved over there. How exactly to deal with a non-cash transaction part of it. So those steps are being taken. It is just that the volume of these small businessmen or small traders is so humongous. It will take probably a year or 2 years to go through the first learning phase itself. Making sure that these people are touched upon. Then onboarding them is again a different challenge, which we'll probably see after 2 years. What challenges these people would face.
Well, I'm glad that the movement has started, and I am even more happy that you are part of that movement, because I know you and I know that a lot of impact will be created. Well, there you go. This was Vidyadhar Prabhudesai, an extraordinary person. And if you have any comments, any questions, any feedback, he's always accessible. He never says no to an answer or a comment, and you can connect with us over there. Thank you so much, Vidyadhar sir, for doing this.
Thanks, Saurabh, so much. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for inviting me for your time.
Why did you not see the facts when there was still time? The end our addiction, fossil fuel addiction, dependence on future existence, inventions. Activate, advocate, organize, stand up and join the resistance. There will be a reckoning. Mother Earth is threatening us. There's no other choice. Hear our children's voice. Liar, liar, Earth's on fire. Liar, liar, Earth's on fire. Truth is in the science. No more political defiance. Liar, liar, Earth's on fire. Liar, liar, Earth's on fire. Truth is in the science. No more political defiance. Sound the alarm, cause no harm. Storms and rising seas, drought, famines, floods could bring us to our knees.